I've seen a ton of people swear by cheap plug-in electric fireplaces that look sleek in the showroom, only to find the heat barely nudges the thermostat, and the faux flames look more like a cheap video game screen after a week. That disappointment can make you wonder if it's worth shelling out for a higher-priced model, or if you're just buying a glorified wall lamp. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In today's review, I'm going to walk through whether the Dimplex IgniteXL 74-inch built-in linear fireplace feels like a smarter buy or just another pretty face. First off, the hesitation most buyers feel is around three things: installation hassle, real heating performance, and how much of a visual upgrade you actually get. The IgniteXL promises premium year-round fireplace and claims it can heat up to 1,000 square feet, which sounds huge on paper. But the real test is how it behaves in a typical living room that's around 350 square feet, a bedroom with an open-plan kitchen, or a small condo where the goal is more ambience than full-room heating. Installation is where Dimplex tries to earn points. The unit comes as a single 74-inch slab that can be recessed into a wall or mounted on the surface. The instructions break the process into 3 clear steps: frame the opening, run the electrical hookup, and secure the unit. For a DIY-savvy homeowner, the recessed option takes about 2 evenings with a standard drill and a level. The surface mount version is even easier. You just mount the bracket, plug it in, and you're good to go. What I heard from a few forums is that the biggest hidden trade-off is the need for a dedicated 120-volt or 240-volt line. If your home only has a standard 120V outlet, you'll be limited to the lower wattage setting, which reduces the heating output noticeably. In short, the unit is install-friendly, but you need to confirm you have the right voltage before you buy. Now let's talk heat. The specs list 2,500 watts on 240V and 1,500 watts on 120V, which translates to roughly 8,500 and 5,100 BTU respectively. In a room of 350,400 square feet, the higher setting can actually raise the temperature by 57 F in a half hour, which is enough to feel cozy on a chilly night without cranking your central furnace. In a larger space, you'll notice the thermostat fighting the fireplace, which is why Dimplex markets it as zone heating. It works best when you use it to supplement an existing system, not replace it. The practical takeaway is, if your primary goal is to add a visual centerpiece and a modest boost of warmth, the IgniteXL delivers. If you're hoping to replace a traditional furnace, you'll be left shivering. Visually, the linear design is where the IgniteXL shines. The 74-inch width spans most wall lengths, creating a panoramic flame that looks surprisingly realistic thanks to Dimplex's Multi-Fire XD technology. The flames have depth, occasional sparks, and a subtle orange-gold hue that changes with the mood settings. I tested the 3 flame modes: warm, cool, and dynamic, while watching a movie, and the dynamic setting gave the room an almost hearth-like feel without being distracting. The real advantage here is the ability to turn the flames off while still using the unit as a heater, which many cheaper models don't allow. That flexibility can be a game-changer for people who love the ambience but don't want to waste electricity when they're not home. Speaking of electricity, the power draw is something to watch. At the top setting, the unit consumes 2.5 kilowatts, which will add roughly 30 cents per hour to your electric bill if you're paying the national average rate. For a typical evening of use, you're looking at about $2.40. That's not huge, but it adds up if you run it all day. The lower 1.5 kilowatts setting cuts that cost by a third, so pairing the right voltage with the appropriate heat level is essential for staying within a reasonable budget. In practice, most owners end up using the lower setting for daytime ambience and bumping up only when the temperature really drops. Who should buy this? If you have an open-plan living area, a modern loft, or a small to medium-sized room where you want a strong visual focal point and a modest heating boost, the IgniteXL fits nicely. It also works well for renters who can opt for the surface mount version and avoid permanent alterations. Homeowners who love the idea of a real fireplace but can't accommodate wood, gas, or venting will appreciate the clean look, especially since the unit has a sleek black frame that blends with contemporary decor. On the other hand, if you live in a large, drafty house where you need full home heating, or if you're on a very tight electricity budget, this isn't the right tool. Likewise, anyone who expects a plug-and-play solution without checking their circuit capacity should steer clear. The need for a 240V line for full output can be a deal breaker. The practical strengths are fairly clear: straightforward installation, a strikingly realistic flame panel, and a heating output that can